Hi everyone, I'm Helen. Welcome. I'm going to go through my first ever sketchbook. This is my first ever watercolor journal as a new artist. You'll see it says May, June 2024, so that, as I'm filming this, was not that long ago, a few months ago. I had never really used watercolor very much before this, so we're going to have a look. Let's see what's on the table here. If you see this, I'm not sure how well this can be seen. This is just the tripod leg, in case you're wondering what this little thing is popping out, but maybe it won't even be in frame. I'm not too sure. Let's hop in. This is North Shore's acid-free watercolor paper. It's 100% cellulose, I'm pretty sure. I believe it to be a Canadian-only brand because I've never seen it very much online. It actually came from Walmart. I was just in a pinch and wanted to grab a nice spiral journal, and it did the job. This is the first ever page. I decided to just use some swatches, keep it really low-key and easy and not have anything too stressful on the very first page. I had bought a Winsor & Newton pocket palette of these colors, and so I just swatched them out here using the tiny little brush that came with it. Did a few mixes here, tried out a little Lily of the Valley here. These are just messy watercolor splodges. I bought a filbert, and this is me trying it out in different colors. Just some different wet and wet techniques. This is me just exploring watercolor for the very first time, basically. And another Lily of the Valley, which is kind of a recurring theme. I had them blooming at the time in my garden, and they're an invasive. You're actually theoretically supposed to dig them all out. I just don't have the heart to do that, as I just love them so much and they smell so nice. More watercolors. You'll see I'm trying to do some loose florals here. I think this came from the artist Clarice Gomes, who is a YouTuber who does lots of loose watercolor florals. And I think this was supposed to be a bookmark project where you cut these all out and you layer them and you sort of stick them through a bookmark that has a little piece there that you can pop these in. I don't know, I'm kind of not describing it that well, but this was fun to explore. This is my attempt of sketching a peony. I'm very new to not only watercolors, but even sketching. I am not someone who's had a lifelong art practice. I've been a career creative in that I've been a video creator for almost, 7 years now, and I've been a very long time magazine journalist / freelance writer / editor. That has been going on 30 years. So this is new to me. One thing you may pick up on is how much I love permanent rows out of the colors. It's one of the swatches, it's one of the half pans that come in the travel kit. More flowers. I think I'm just trying and experimenting here. This is my take on lilacs, because lilacs were in season. I remember that when I was painting this. These are some sketches of these little seeds that just fell onto my deck, and I picked them up and I tried to capture the fold and the varied colors, including a little bit of brown in the center. Actually did not a bad job sketching this, considering I'm pretty new to sketching. Peonies, peonies, peonies. I love peonies in a house. This is a tutorial from the YouTube artist Margot Hallac, and I just liked her style of teaching these florals. I even signed it, so I must have liked it quite a bit. This is her version of a hydrangea this is a study of her work that I copied from the tutorial. This is her peony. This is supposed to be ranunculus. Lavender? I don't know. It's not Lily of the Valley, but it kind of looks a little bit like it. Bluebells? Not sure. Tulips, sunflower. This one looks really good. And a pansy, which I think is, I didn't copy it as well as hers anyway. I'm trying not to be too critical of myself here because, I'm a beginner and watercolor is notoriously tricky. Haw flakes. If you don't know what this is, I'm Chinese Canadian, and so this is a big deal. It's a type of candy that I grew up with, and it's from the haw plant, I think. I don't know, but they're reddish brown flakes, and they're candies, and it's something that my grandmother always had and would give to us. So this is a study from someone else's illustration, and then I was really heavy-handed. This is like one of my first attempts at going darker, and that's fine. You have to learn. Everybody learns and starts from somewhere. But it kind of has a look of marker, which isn't bad. But when I got a bit more comfortable really watering down my watercolors, I made this instead, the study instead, with just light values. And I think that is kind of nice too. Such a nostalgic. I was really big into nostalgia when I first started watercoloring, and I still am. And you'll see more as I flip the pages. This, I didn't use this side, so I must really have liked this. This is from my cousin's bridal shower. She had these beautiful floral arrangements in tones of peach and orange and pink, and I got to take one of the arrangements home. Here it is with a ranunculus, a poppy. I think that was a peony. I can't remember. Another ranunculus. Don't know, and don't know. I think this is an Icelandic poppy. The arrangement was so pretty. Right, so this is where I'm starting to go down nostalgia lane because I'm really drawn to these icons of the 90s, and I made videos about them, not on this channel, but on my main channel. I talk about makeup there, and I have gone down a rabbit hole of kind of reliving the 90s, which is kind of fun. This is Revlon's Toast of New York, an iconic color from the 1990s that is still being made. So if you want this color, you can go to the drugstore and get it still. I just found a photo to use as a reference, like an old advertisement from the 90s, and I think Cindy Crawford or somebody's on the other side. Christy Turlington's on the other side, like over here in the thing, in the advertisement. But I just grabbed this to use, the lipstick to use as a study, and I've tried to capture some shade, light and shade, the reflections, I guess, because it's product photography. I think I did not a bad job, actually. Trying to praise myself and be positive here. This was just a messy line and sketch attempt. I have subsequently actually improved. I brought this out here so you can see. When you keep practicing, you get better, and you keep iterating, and you keep working on the skills. This is actually also from a tutorial, but I just know myself how much I improved from this one to this one. So this one is from Camilla Damsbo, I think her name is. She has a YouTube channel as well. And I can't remember. Maybe this was from her as well. But it's just been fun to see my skills increase. This is just a few months ago, so I try and practice doing watercolor and sketching almost daily. I'd say 6 days out of 7. And so the skills can come up quick. Okay, fun. This, if you know the artist, Jenna Rainey, Jenna, let's go with Jenna Rainey. She's a huge watercolorist. She has books out. She's probably the #1 person you see when you start YouTube searching for watercolor florals or watercolor art. I bet you her tutorials pop up. This is her palette. I love her palette, and I think it's so pretty with all the splodges of dried up watercolor everywhere, and she makes it look so juicy and fun. Grabbed a screenshot from one of her videos, and I just kind of colored it in the colors that I saw in that video, and that was a fun exercise to do. Her actual palette is from an artisan, and it's like $400 or $350. It's just beautiful ceramic thing with wells. Each of these are actual individual wells in the palette, and then these are you can mix here, and then there's more wells here to mix. It is just, the palette itself is really a piece of artwork. An evil eye. This is based on an embroidery pattern that I did, and I just felt drawn to do it. I don't really have any other reason as to why I made this. It's not like I was trying to ward off bad vibes or anything. At some points I liked to explore the idea of really, really large, oversized florals that don't fit on the page, and also just dropping in darker colors as dots in wet watercolor. So this again is a lily of the valley, and instead of using white, I used a bit of pink to fill them in. This was fun to do. I quite like this. This is something that I never, I wasn't inspired by anybody. I'm not saying I invented the idea, of course. There is no real invention in art these days, I don't think. But I kind of came up with the idea myself, and it pretty much turned out how I envisioned it in my head, which for me means it was a success. This, I don't know, I think I was just kind of doodling while I was on the phone when I made this. It's literally dots and squiggles. I did sign it though, so. These are Jenna Rainey tutorials. This was just an exercise in mixing circles. I didn't find it a particularly useful exercise in the end, but, all practice is good practice, I think. Again, more loose florals. I love the contrast between these two colors. And again, I didn't invent this. This was from a Jenna Rainey tutorial. What I like about this paper, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got a subtle linen print. So even though it's 100% cellulose, I kind of like it. A Lily of the Valley again. I'm just always iterating on this idea of getting better and better at painting these. Whether I have or not, I don't know. I guess you can be the judge, but it is fun to just keep drawing the same thing that you're drawn to that you think is pretty and reminds you of a time of the year. This was a pear that I had. A pear that had a lot of really pretty colors, and I tried to do the shadow as well. So this one is all me and this one is all me. I'm kind of proud of them considering I'm brand new. Another version of another Revlon. This is supposed to represent Wine with Everything, which was my color in the 90s. And I'm smiling as I say this because it just brings back so many fun nostalgic memories of high school for me. On this page, I wanted to again explore the idea of these loose, bold, oversized florals. Sorry for all the beeps and noises in my backyard, everybody. It's a busy weekend day, and everybody's home in my neighborhood. And I live in the city. Exploring bold florals that don't quite fit on the page, as you can see here, with just lots of marks and just getting really wet and messy and dropping colors in, and also reflecting this. I wanted them to go together. I wanted to have black and I wanted to have purple, and I added some other colors as well. And I quite like the way these two look together. More loose florals. Again, I have this like love and hate relationship with them. Sometimes I think they look really pretty, and sometimes I'm like, that's ghastly. Why did I do that? It's interesting. Oh, I kind of like how this one turned out. This is from life, from my own garden. These are peonies. I only got 3 blooms this year from my peony bushes because they are on the struggle bus, because they don't get enough sun, because, long story short, as the years progress, there's more shade cover in my garden because the trees get more mature. So I get fewer peonies and fewer flowers. But these are the 3 I had, and I trimmed them quickly, and I brought them in, and I put them in this vase. This is a sunflower plant that doesn't exist. It's just a figment of my imagination. And the sunflowers are based on the Margot Hallac tutorial of how to dot them in the middle and then do strokes outwards. I struggle with stalks. I struggle with leaves. They're definitely my downfall. I find them hard to do. So what had happened, these are the same 3 peonies that were in the other vase. I had to transfer the vase though. I can't remember why. I transferred vases into this vase instead, and that is pretty actually accurate about how it looks. My vase does look like that. Hydrangeas that are coming out of a planter. I think I did a nice job with the flowers. Struggling to understand how to paint leaves though, so work in progress. I made this one, I didn't like it, so I just went over it and made it really soft and blurry with extra washes of color. This is from a Shada Campbell tutorial. Pears and some blossoms and some splatters. And I think she did a good job showing how to make leaves. So I actually think these are nice. I like this one. A very soft evocation, really. Very, very almost abstract, of hydrangeas, peonies. Again, playing with the idea of these really huge loose florals that are not on the page. The rest of it would be here. This is from Emma Jane Lefebvre's channel. She did some plants. I copied her. This was a fun one to do, very beginner friendly. So you'll see through my book, it's a real mix of a lot of tutorials and a lot of experimentation and iteration. Some peonies that are pink and yellow. I don't know how many times I've said peonies, but they were kind of in bloom, being that this was May, June, so they were very much on my mind. I kept seeing them in all the neighborhoods. This actually has peonies. This tablecloth underneath is full of peonies. I love them. I love peonies. This is a view of my backyard. June 15, 2024. That's the exact view that I'm looking at right now, actually. One thing that I discovered that I enjoy doing is adding colors that aren't there as almost like little fun hints, playful variations on reality. So I'm just going to cover this because it's my exact address, and I trust you, but who knows who's going to be looking. I mean, who knows? AI might be scraping this for all I know. This is my home. Again, this was fun to draw it pretty realistically, but then go crazy with the colors because my home is not this color at all. It's just like a red brick house with a black roof, a white door. There is no pink in this tree, but I liked adding it. There is no pink in the roof here and here, and the blue is figments, or should I say pigments, of my imagination. This house address I can show you. This was my grandparents' house, 98 Robert Street in the South Annex of Toronto. And the way I actually got this photo for this is pretty funny. So listen to this. I went on Google Maps. The house now is a modern house. This house has been knocked down. It's a very modern 4-story house. But if you just start going backwards in the archive of Google Photos, eventually I could get to one that was maybe 10 years old where the house looked like I remembered it growing up. And so I got a screenshot of that, and that was my reference photo to make this cute little bungalow. So nostalgic to go back in time like that and paint something that meant so much to me. It still means so much to me. It's not there anymore, but it's nice to have it now in painting format forever in this sketchbook. Okay. I did a plein air painting in the park. Just took my journal with me. June 16, it says. There was a bench. You know, what I love about this actually is the sort of purple, dark purple and blue that isn't there. But for me, it really just livens things up and awakens it, even though it's not realistic, but that's okay. Oh, then I moved into a kind of diary format where I use these quadrants, I guess, these almost cartoon-like boxes. June 13. This was a real leaf, and I traced it, and then I colored it in. This is a view of my fence. This is my kid's scooter. That was fun to draw, because again, I'm just learning how to draw. And of course, ice cream. It is the summer, after all. Peonies, again, in that loose, oversized style, and I think this is from a tutorial by Ellen Crimini Trent. I think that's her name. Oh, these were so much fun. In fact, I think I might go back to this because I think it's just memorable and stylish. This is a wonderful day, June 17. This is a really nice day that I had out going to art class with my friend. We grabbed coffee, iced coffee, at a place called Red Rocket Coffee. We were learning at Create Art Studio. We were taking watercolor lessons together. So that was a great day. Like, it brings back all the memories as soon as I look at that. Another fun one. This just came from my camera roll. So I was just wondering what to paint. So I was like, you know what, let's poke around in my camera roll, see what's there. So here is the vase. This turned out really nice, actually. I really like how this turned out. Did a nice job with the sketching. So there's the garden peony. We were in Niagara Falls, and we got this hot sauce for my son from the, well, I can't remember the name of it. I'm sure you've seen this hot sauce company before. Black Rose hot sauce, which he really likes. I've done an embroidery of Frida Kahlo, and so I had pictures in my camera roll of the embroidery so I could follow it as I was embroidering on the road. This is her head. I don't know how to draw faces, so I just left her face blank. But it kind of still is very iconic because of the flowers in her hair. And then this is her from the neck down. First big embroidery project is what I wrote there. Just more fun stuff. This was a calendar idea. If you have clients, it's nice to give them a calendar card, just one card that has all the dates. They actually come in a lot of handy. Not like a flip-through calendar where there's a page for every month, but just like one card, maybe this size. Maybe the size or half of this size. That's just like 2025, January, February, March. Because sometimes in some jobs you need to look ahead. So if someone says, oh, can you do the 24th of August? You either have to open up your phone or your computer and click 6 times, or you can literally just glance at the card and be like, oh, that's on a Wednesday. I can't because, I don't know, I work from home on Wednesdays, whatever the case may be. So it's a nice client idea. So I was just fiddling with some ideas of how I can maybe get a floral on there and design my own this year for my clients. I painted my palette, my palette, this thing. What's this? My watercolor travel kit and some brushes. I think I only had 4 at the time, so this is funny to look at. I have more now. These are Winsor & Newton, all Winsor & Newton stuff. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. What do I got here? These are just ideas for watercolors. I painted some flowers, some bricks. This is some pen and pencil tests. June 20th, 2024. This is a garden in my neighborhood, for sure. I walked by it. I couldn't stand there and sketch it in real life, so I just took a photo and I finished it at home. This is a robin in my backyard. Robins are territorial, at least the ones that come to my backyard are. And it's the same dude all summer long, so there he is. I made another version of this that had more colors. The robin had a cuter looking face, and actually sold that on Instagram. So all you beginner artists, there is hope for a sale. Wreaths. I don't even know why I made this, but I like it. Hydrangea. Roses. I don't know, daisies. Was this from a tutorial? No, I own this. This is fake flowers that I own in a pot. And a coffee that doesn't look that coffee-ish, but this is from Toby Sketchloose, who specializes in urban sketching. He did a coffee with lots of funky colors and just went kind of loose and wild with it, and I think it looks good. And that concludes the tour. If you like this, please do show your support by throwing me a like, and as a newbie here on this particular, please do consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot. And with that said, I'm going to put up another video that I've made of my art supplies, so that could be fun to look at. Have a look at that, and we'll see you on the next video.